So, the breath and awareness, be here now, present, the first pillar. The second pillar has to do with looking out in the way. It's the other side. This one, the first is the inner, second is the outer, and that is, I call it the benevolence of the universe. The universe is totally, totally benevolent. It has never given you anything that wasn't in your best interest. Oh yeah? You are loved beyond your imagination, and you are here, and so you're given everything you need for your gracious good. And so it's like beginning to learn to say when something's coming, yes to it. That's the yes. Yes to it. Not yes, I'm going to like everything that comes, but yes to it. Because it's being sent to me for a reason. Even if it's for a reason to make an immediate choice, no thank you. But it's yes. The universe is totally benevolent, and it's learning that. That's why in my meditation practice, this has always been, the universe is perfect and it's unfolding. I don't have to try and make anything happen. I don't have to fix anybody else. The universe, they're on their soul journey. The universe is. My job is to take what it brings and give my all to it, do my best to it, to learn to be stronger, to make my choices more fully and easier. And it does get easier. And you will find, for example, if you're attached to a person and you're doing things to try and make them better and fix them, and you stop doing it, and you stop trying, love them, but allow them to be who they are, you're likely to see miracles. I see time and time again where people will turn around. Just one example of many. A woman comes to me, tells me that for years she's been on the spiritual path, but her husband is so anti it, and he always puts her down and everything. And I said, do you try to explain to him what you're doing? And she said, yes, but he just makes it worse. I said, well, stop. You do your thing, and don't try to convince him. Don't try to justify yourself. Just do what you want to do, and have your heart in it, and let it go. Whatever he says, just allow it. That's where he's coming from. And she did that for a month, and she came back to me and said, for all these years, I don't know how many it was, 20 years, she said he wouldn't have anything to do with it. And I stopped resisting in myself and trying to do anything. And he came to me last night, she said, and he said, you know that meditation group you've been going to for years? I might come along. That's just one example. I've seen these kinds of things happen. You don't know. I'm not saying you're going to change them by not doing anything. That's another, you're still trying to fix them. But allow people, if you can live with it, allow people to be where they are. They're on their soul journey. And maybe part of their soul journey has been, up until that moment, providing you with a bit of shadow. When it no longer has an effect, without subconsciously, has no reason to do it. It works. The new way of being works so differently. To stop trying, it's like yoga says, you do or you don't do. No more trying. People say, well, I'll try it. I'm saying, don't try it. Don't do it. Or do it. Your choice. When you make a choice, it's a choice. It's not a choice to maybe. So the universe is always doing this. And if it's doing it for you, it's doing it for others. And that's not a reason to not do anything, put out a helping hand when someone needs a helping hand. I'm not saying that. But your heart knows. Your heart knows when to touch and when to leave well alone. So it's all about listening again, being present, pillar number 1. So pillar number 2, the conditions. The inner is that stance, the outer is wow. You know, it's a stretch of the old wow. The universe is our oyster. And let's be open to it. You don't have, your being will allow the appropriate things to come in. You've got the company of heaven that will can arrange things for you a little bit more easier, or accelerate them, accelerate your progress if you choose to. But you can make it painful for yourself by fighting what you've already asked for, so there's no way out. There's no way out. And you wouldn't want it, soul being would not want it that way, because you come here for a purpose. So it's tough love. No, it doesn't have to be. Grace and ease, that's what we're moving to, grace and ease. And the third pillar is trusting yourself. Trusting yourself. That has to do with self-love. It's being willing, being confident enough to see a choice and make it, and not be always bound up with this, which is the right choice, or what will happen if I do this and that, and oscillating. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when you've got a choice and they're equally possible and desirable, if you like. It doesn't matter which way you choose, because whichever way, if you're open, is going to lead to more of who you are. It has to. So stop dithering and just do, even if it's something small. Even if I'm going down the road, an example, going down the road and I'm driving, and I suddenly see a group of shops and I've got to pull over for some reason. I think, well, what do I want here? I don't want anything. And there's an op shop, and I go in, it's a little op shop, and I go in and I'm looking around, what the hell am I here for? You know, what am I to talk to that person or not? It may be. But I see a pair of shoes, and they fit me, and they're almost new, and I like them, so I buy them, and I go out, and I think, well, what was all that about? And it turns out it was just to make sure that you're on target, that you are listening. It was just not a test, it's just an opportunity for me to see that I'm on target. Another time it might be going in there and I've got to say something to somebody. Got to give them a little bit of Nicky warm fuzzies. And then I'm out again. And I don't know, but my life tells me that something will happen. They've got a gift. And you don't know how often you do that same thing. We don't know. But we follow this. You've got to trust that you're a mighty being on an amazing journey in a great plan. And you're part of something that's magnificent. And so your touch of love really, really counts. So your being kind to you really, really counts, because you come first. Who and what you are determines how you'll be. And you're all capable. Just got to drop the blinds, the old ideas of who we were. From who we were to what we are. Step by step. The universe is bringing it to us. We have to trust ourselves, our own being. That is, that will bring through this heart knowing the perfect step, next step. And you cannot know. You're walking through the forest and these golden nuggets are put in front of you and you pick them up. But you cannot know what's round the corner, you know. And if you think it's something scary, you'll miss the nuggets. So it's an opportunity. This is the childlike quality again. It's an adventure. Life is an adventure, and it's going to be brought to you. So you've got to trust that you have the wherewithal. You always have the wherewithal. You're not given anything that you cannot handle, even though it seems like sometimes, but you're not. The courage that it took for you to come here. Give yourself a break. Trust. It's there for you. So that's the third pillar. And the fourth pillar, dear to my heart, is what I call the holy, holy. The sacred. The sacredness in life. How I love to feel humble. Humility, shall we say. Humility. I love that in the face of somebody else who's suffered and who is, if people call them not awake yet, but are struggling and really asking with their eyes. I love the honour that it is for them to be, for me to be present with them. Sometimes, well, the way I put it is, all I want to do is to kneel at their feet and wash their feet. I cry because I feel it. It's the holy, holy of everything around us. Ourselves included, how precious we are, and how you can feel so, so humble. And at the same time, so mighty to be of service. And that's the sacred. The sacred is to walk. To walk in a sacred manner is to walk with care and honor and light and strength and knowing and openness and engagement. And that is something we develop. It's already within us, because I know most of you feel this as I speak of it. I don't have to say much. It's a sacred. And our culture, the matrix, has made everything, has analysed everything to make it and made it profane. There was either one point of 20 or 30 years, and there's still remnants of it, where the philosophers came to the conclusion that God was dead. Boy, I laughed at that one. I did philosophy as a second major. Yeah, that God was dead. Because we know we can analyse everything. You know, and science took over. And scientism took over. And scientism is still being taught in schools. Whereas science now is at the quantum level, which has come full circle to meet the mystic. Yeah, and so that the sacredness of all life, and that it's an honour to serve. It's not a cross to bear. It's an honour. And what I get is not the praise from other people. What I get is the joy of seeing someone else's light go on. And you're the same, I know, those of you who work. It's the joy of seeing somebody else, because they're so precious, precious. We all are. Now, can you stand in front of the mirror and look at yourself, look soul to soul, and say, and feel how precious you are. That's self-love. Honouring yourself for the sacred journey you're on, and accepting the honour from the company of heaven, who just love and adore you and are so in awe of what we're doing. We're part of something huge. Don't demean yourself. The more you honour you, the more you can honour everyone around you. And it feels so good. Even people who frustrate me, we don't accept what we don't like. Well, I don't have to like everything. I have choice, and I make my choice. I'll let people know if I don't like it. If it's in my face and won't go away, or I can't go away. But to do it without judgment requires us to see soul to soul. As we recognize our own soul, we see it clearer in others. So that's one that not many people talk about, this holy of holy. And it is. So that's the fourth pillar of enlightenment. And I'll say, whatever I've said is not it. It's much, much more. And it's that's simple for me. It's a human experience and the beauty of human. Any questions or comments about this or anything at all?
The joy of seeing, like if a person's going to commit suicide, if a person's traumatized, and you're facilitating their growth, they're staying alive, that their life is precious. I think when you make that point.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's an honour to be here, and yet we don't, like the question asked about suicide earlier, there has been a tendency to judge people for taking their life because it's a privilege and sacred. Life is sacred. That they've seen this as an unholy act. But it's not. I mean, there are kinds of reasons. And people have a purpose, a soul purpose. And the life here is not the be-all and end-all, but we can make it something beautiful. And that's what the new world is about, making something really beautiful. I like the saying, this is part of my holy orientation, something beautiful for God. And that's the holy, because it's the little me, who's not that little, doing something for the one. So if we take what I was saying about free will and the shadow, we come into the free will world. What could we come here for? Well, one way I would like to put it is that we come here because in not knowing and finding out and choosing light, we bring that gift of our love back to source. Each one of us in our own way. We give source the gift of our choice for love in the most extreme circumstances of not love.
So I understand all of that. There is no, I agree, I understand, I feel it, I know it. For the people that don't know it yet, how do you comfort, how do you cope when a family member is murdered? And they don't know that, and even if we do know it, if somebody is taken from us in a brutal way, murder, war, car accidents, something unexpected, how do you then say to them that it's all in their life's plan? They asked for it, or maybe it didn't quite ask for it, but it was asked for by the circumstances in which they put themselves in to perhaps learn a lesson. How do you then get them to see a different perspective? Do you kind of understand the question?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying, yeah. Yeah, I mean, how do I do it? I wouldn't attempt to give them an explanation of death and life, anything like that. What they're dealing with is grief. And so I take them from the point of view of grief and let them know that I hear the grief. You know, not just by saying it. And I always found, when I started my counselling and clinical work, I was taught, part like how it aligns itself with the pillars, to trust yourself, trust that you have the knowing, because they're coming to you, trust that the universe will guide you, and trust that the other person is coming for their greatest good. Their being knows. So you sit and you listen. And when I listen, if I'm open, they give you a clue. They gave me a clue. And the clue might be something I wouldn't expect. And that's what you focus on. You focus on the clue and you talk around it. Expand their awareness in that clue. And you may say nothing about death, but it's something about grief that they have spoken in word, or in some way you get that message and you speak to that from the heart, to their heart. You find the door that they have opened slightly, and you go to walk to that, because it's leading them to another place outside that door, so they open up. And they may open up a little bit. It's like with kids. You know, kids ask about sex. Don't give them a sex lesson. You give them a little bit. And it might be just the explanation that there's an exchange, a physical exchange or something. And if there's no more questions, there's no need. You know, we've got a society that's always in fear, so we've got to pre-warn them and give them all this information. Humbug. Just gets in the way. We're not allowed to tell them things that are not fairy tales. No, because there's a good and an evil in it. You know, it's what works. It's what works for the child, and different strokes for different folks. Different things work for different people. So, in other words, you don't go in with a theory or modality that's going to do everything, because it won't do it. You're the one who does it. I found with my training, psychology, excuse the university, but psychology gave me very little. A lot of it I just couldn't practice. But I was led to other things. And so you're open. And who's taught me the most? The people who've come.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know whether I've answered your question, but yeah, we can have the big picture and be able to share the big picture, but it's too much. It was like my book, All You Can Be. I wrote it, just bits and pieces. There is an overview in there, but it's an overview that opens rather than closes. Yeah, because they're soul beings, they're mighty soul beings who are locked. So they just need a little opening. And when they want more, they'll come for more. They'll ask.